Back to the news today. This may be every young girl's dream, running into a famous designer by chance in Paris and landing a modeling contract of a lifetime. Sounds unbelievable. That's exactly what happened to 14-year-old Sofia Mechetner from Israel, who until recently was helping her mother clean apartments after school and is now walking the Christian Dior runway. Leah Wolber and Ayman Siksik bring us her story.
Sofia Mechetner is the new face of Dior. Only 14 years old, this young teenager from the Tel Aviv suburb of Holon did not expect what happened.
Here is the living room. We don't have TV channels, just the TV screen. Here's the bedroom. That's where I sleep. Here's where my sister sleeps. Here's where my brother sleeps. And here on the floor, that's my bed.
When her mother is at work, she's the one taking care of the housework and her siblings.
She changes the bed sheets, takes out the garbage, and sometimes she even comes to work with me. She dusts also. A girl her age should be playing, going outside. She lives a really hard life.
Far from the runways, the flashes, and haute couture. But a few weeks ago, the Israeli model agency, Roberto, discovered her and introduced her to Viva, a small Parisian agency. Won over by Sofia's beauty, the Parisian agency decided to book her for a photo shoot and an audition. The only problem, Sofia's age. 14 years had not been previously mentioned. The photo shoot was cancelled. Sofia's agent was disappointed but did not actually lose hope. Together, still in Paris, they decided to enter a Dior shop, only to end up meeting Dior's chief designer by chance. And shortly afterwards, the designer contacted the Viva model agency to find out more about the young teenager. And weeks went by. Finally, one morning, Sofia received a phone call from her Israeli agent. The haute couture house Dior was offering her the deal of a lifetime, opening the Dior fashion show during Fashion Week in Paris. Only a few intensive days of learning how to move on the catwalk are left, and $1 million contract. Here's to the promise of a new life.
And with me here in the studio to discuss this is Roberto Ben Shushan of the Roberto Modeling Agency, who first scouted her. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining me.
Good evening. Thank you very much for seeing me here.
And also our correspondent, Ayman Siksik. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. Roberto, I will start with you. 14 years old. She's 14 years old. It's like, if I am a mother and I will think about that, no way that I'm sending my daughter to model at the age of 14.
Why not?
Isn't it too young?
No, if she's always with the companion. I sent her my agent together with her. She's 24 hours like you, 24 hours with her. She's sleeping in the same room with her. She's going with her to the audition, to the catwalk, to everything. So I think it's okay.
What did you see in her that you thought that this is the girl who is going to bring me back to the game, to the modeling game, to the scene, to the cycle?
Well, this is my business. When I first saw her, I knew that she's like one of a kind, and that she can bring me back to the top, and that's why I sent her first to Paris. The Paris, like it's the top of in fashion. It's the top. It's the most difficult and hard place to be a model. But I knew that she can manage there because of her. Like she looks amazing. She's very tall. She's 1.78, and she's amazing and also unique. She's got a unique look, and I knew that the designer, they always like the fresh, unique face.
You know why I'm asking you? Because her mother said a girl at her age should be playing. I don't know if a girl at her age should be walking in front of all these cameras and maybe being judged by the way she looks, judged by the way that she is dressed, judged by her weight. This is maybe too big for a 14-year-old. Maybe in 2 years, in 3 years.
Maybe you're right, and maybe some people have talents when they're young, like you see like football player like Messi. I'm sure when he was 14, he didn't do anything except playing football and nobody asks this question like you asking, because it's looks good for you that a small child, instead of playing with his friends, always working to be a football player, to be a professional football player. Or if she was a ballet dancer, you wouldn't ask this question. But sometimes people need to ask the question about modeling.
I will tell you why we're asking, because we talked before, and we know that the modeling world is a really problematic for people who are young, for people who are coming maybe from really poor family, for suddenly, or in between a night and a day, your life is changing, and that maybe can bring the critiques over maybe Roberto that is saying, okay, this is a job opportunity that can get her and her family out of the poor life that they're living.
Well, it's interesting to look at how the Israeli media was handling the story this week. I mean, it was a huge celebration, and it is a beautiful story. It gives hope, it's funny, it's inspiring, but funnily enough, today also, Malala Yousafzai from Pakistan just turned 18, and the gift she gave herself was opening a school for Syrian refugee girls in Lebanon. So I think it's ironic that we celebrate this young girl on fighting for education, educating young women specifically, and at the same time send a totally different message to another young girl who may be equally talented, equally smart, and telling her that the key to success in life is looking good. And she is very beautiful, there's no discussion about that. But how do you feel at 14 receiving all this incredible attention and being evaluated solely on how you look? This is the problem, I think, with modeling, and that's maybe where it differs from being a footballer, where you really are expressing your talent. Here, you're looking great, which may be also a talent.
You don't think that modeling is a talent? You don't think that she needs
I do
something
think
else
it's a talent,
than
but I think
only to look good?
I think
You
it is a
think
talent.
that the way that you speak, because you speak fluently and nicely, you have like it's more intelligent than she walks on the catwalk. I think that you are wrong. I think you have your talent. You can talk, okay? You can talk.
But I'm also not 14, and I'm not putting myself
even
in
if
this
you were
position
14 and you were
at this
like
tender age.
you were in a challenge for children and you were like hosting the challenge, you feel good about yourself. Your mother will feel good about yourself. I think modeling, it's the same.
But wouldn't you
be
agree that the rate of exchange in the modeling world is very high? These models are hot for 1 year, 2 years, and then they're not anymore, and that's why they keep getting younger and younger. And what happens to her at 17 when she's no longer a big deal?
Also, if she were like a tennis player, and she can be like, when she's young, she can be the first in Israel or the first in France or the first, I don't care. And then she become older and she's not that good, so she's disappointing. Like, you can be disappointed if they fire you tomorrow.
I will be disappointed if they fire me.
We're not planning to fire you anytime soon.
So I think that a girl that when she's 14 and a half and she has this difficult situation at house and she can help her mother by her talent, not only by looks, because it's
Roberto,
not only a good look who can makes you a top model. It's not only a good look, because
but you know,
there's a lot of people
let's
good
try
looks.
to remember the story of Kate Moss. Kate Moss started also in a really young age. She deteriorated to really, really bad situations. And you know, today, if you want to, because the image of a woman today is different. The image of a woman, is a healthy woman, is a big woman, is a grown-up woman, is a woman that passed 1 or 2 or 3 things in her life, educated.
Why you always give the bad example of modeling? What about?
No. I'm not giving bad examples. I'm just saying that because you are starting at such a young age, I don't know if she will have. I know that you're standing behind her. I know that you are basically you have somebody who's following her the entire time.
All the time.
But you are not like, when you're sitting with yourself, you're not afraid that something like what happened to Kate Moss will happen to her. You are not afraid that maybe she's sending the different message than the message that we want to send.
She's sending a message about Kate Moss.
No.
Girl,
she's sending a message about her.
Girl.
So that image, that your body is the only thing that matters.
I don't think you're right. Like, I don't think you're right at all. And I think that the looks, it's important. It's important to you. That's why you look that good, and it's important to him. That's why he uses these glasses, that it's very fashionable. because the looks is important to anyone, okay?
There is no doubt that the look is
And-
important,
and-
but there is a difference when the look is important when me and him are 34 years old and when you're 14 years old.
If you're 14 and you look good and you can use your look, and you, instead of working at McDonald's and earning like small wage and you can make more money, and this is your time, I think you should do it.
One sentence?
Well, we have to also consider that Dior is a huge corporation that has many important considerations for a business. Money flow, branding, and so on and so on. I don't fully understand that her well-being will be at the top of their priorities in the long
It's
run.
going to be the top of my priority, that's for sure. That I can promise you.
Gentlemen, thank you very, very much
Oh, you're most welcome.
for having this conversation.